Right, guys, so here's how the session's going to work today. We're going to do mainly matches today. But it's matches with a bit of a purpose, because sometimes matches can just turn into sort of playground football where no one's really concentrating on anything specific and it's just all a bit crazy. We're not going to do that. What we are going to concentrate on today is reactions. And reactions are going to hopefully help us shape the game in positive ways. We're going to try and avoid some of the negative reactions that you might see, okay? So there are two things that we're going to focus on first of all, positive reactions and negative reactions. We're going to split you into two teams and we're just going to start with just a normal match, all right? The game doesn't look any different to how it normally does. We play a normal little match and we're just going to highlight a few little positive reactions that we've seen or any negative reactions that we've seen. Oh, God, I've put the wrong way around. Positive is up there, negative is there. Perfect. Before we even start, could anybody tell me what you might think is a positive reaction in game of football? Jacob?
When maybe someone scores and you go, well done.
I like that. So that might be positive in terms of encouragement, yeah? Go on, Ben, you got your hand up?
Well, a positive reaction could be, for example, you shoot, that's with it, and the keeper saves it, and everyone will be like, oh no, but then someone might say, don't worry, we've got a corner.
I like it, good. So now what you guys are talking about there is like positive reactions that are verbal. So that might be the way that you speak to someone. The positive reaction, Ben, might be that when you hit that shot and the keeper saves it, that while everybody else is going, oh, I can't believe we missed, you get on the rebound and hit a shot and score.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So there's different ways of positive reactions. A positive reaction might just be that your team have just got the ball, so you go running off into the other half of the pitch, screaming for it because you can start a counter-attack. That might be a positive reaction. So go on then. Tell me some of the negative reactions. Tell me something that you might see as a negative reaction on the pitch. Go on, Adam.
Blaming your teammates.
Blaming your teammates, definitely. Blaming can be a negative reaction. Anybody else got a negative reaction that's different? Ben?
For example, if you went in and you tackled someone,
Yep.
and the ref gives you a yellow card, when in your opinion it wasn't the ref card everything correct.
Ah.
Very angry.
Maybe a bit of an argument or a bit of rage. Everyone's seen Dude Perfect do the rage monster, right? No baseball bats on the pitch today. Go on, Cole. Last one.
Say you foul someone, and
Yep.
then you walk away saying give over instead of just help them up.
I like that. Yeah, so that's just like bad sportsmanship, isn't it? Good luck. Perfect. Right. The final one that we haven't talked about yet, but we're going to look at is no reaction. That can be a really negative reaction. Sometimes what happens is your team lose the ball and your players don't react, and then you concede a goal. Or your team concede a throw-in and everyone goes, oh, it's their throw-in. And then the ball gets thrown over the head and then they go, oh, now I need to react because they're running towards my goal about to score. But when should they have reacted? When they lost the ball, exactly. So we're going to look at negative reactions, positive reactions, and we're going to get you into game to do so. Make sense? We've talked for a little bit, so what we're going to do now is get you into bibs, start a little match, and then during the game, we'll pause it and we'll just have a look at some of the positive and negative reactions that we've seen, coach it from there. Make sense? Let's go. Perfect. Right, start. So, I've seen, as a coach, some really, really good reactions in that game already. Now, we've been playing for a few minutes, now we're going to talk for a couple of minutes, and then we'll go back into the game. The positive reactions I'm seeing from the yellows have been defensive reactions, okay? Now, what we're going to look at now is spatial reactions. Does anyone know what spatial means? I'll give you a clue. Yeah. It's not space like that.
Empty space.
It's like that. Spatial reactions, okay? So a positive spatial reaction, what that means is you're moving into a space or you are reducing a space. When would you move into a space? When your team have got the ball or when they've lost the ball? When they've got the ball, yeah. So when your team have got the ball, moving into good spaces is helping your team. Barca have done it really well. Every time the ball has been at a goal kick, I've seen runners going left and right. I've seen people coming towards the ball if it's got them away from markers. I've seen Cole floating behind players, trying to get on the blind side of them. All those positive reactions are called spatial reactions, being moving into space. The yellow team have done a complete opposite. That are still really positive reactions, but you've done them to deny space. Tell me a way that you might deny space. Go on, Ed. More than that, all defending might be denying space. Go on, Ben, he's got his hand up.
When you're marking people.
Marking people, good. Adam, if you're defending out here and your goal's in the middle, are you denying space?
No.
So what kind of reaction do you usually see? Do we stay wide or get narrow?
Get narrow.
Yeah, we call it squeezing. We squeeze into the middle, and that's one thing that I've seen really good from the yellow team. In fact, at one point, you pretty much had 5 players in front of your goal. Now that might be taking it to the extreme, but what you did really well is denied space in front of your goal, made it hard for the Barca team to break through. Go on, Frank.
sometimes there's like two people pressing instead of just one.
Yes. So when we had loads of space up there at the right back position, Ed and Alex came flying at us and tried to put us under a little bit of pressure. That's a really good spatial reaction, because what it's doing is when we've got loads of space and time up here, because there's no pressure on us, you are denying that space, and by denying space, you're also denying time. That makes him having to think faster, puts him under more pressure, more likely to make a mistake. Exactly. So that's some of the positive reactions we've seen so far. A couple of the negative reactions that we've seen, and we won't go on for too long with this, but there's been a couple of times when a player has ran past you and you haven't stayed with them. So imagine Frankie is attacking that goal, yeah? And Jake has got the ball and he's ready to play a through ball for Frankie. And Frankie's behind me. So I'm fine, I'm marking him, I'm goal side. Frankie makes a run that goes beyond me and past me. What should my reaction be? To try and at least stay as close to him as I can. He might be faster than me, he probably is actually, but he might be fast, so I might not be able to actually get goal side of him again, but I've got to stay as close as possible. And what we've seen a few times is players running past you and then you're just kind of going, oh, I hope that he doesn't score. Well, guess what? Because you're nowhere near him, he's probably gonna. So instead in this game, if someone does go past you, what do we want to see as the reaction? We want to see you just stay as close to him as you can. Make sense? Track your runners and stay tight. Let's see it. Good feet, Frank. Good support call. Excellent, Barca. Keep the ball moving. Brilliant, Barca. Well played. Good defensive reaction there, Ben. You've shut it down really quickly. Good boy. Good ball, Adam. Really good effort. Ed, unlucky. I like it. Yellows, you're creating a lot of chances. This is good. Now, Will, you've lost the ball. So what do you do? Quick. Quick reaction. Quick reaction. I like it. Nice call. Unlucky. Backwards okay. Backwards okay. Frank, to the side. Start again if you need, Frank. I think you've got the time. You can play without me. Good. Didn't even need it. Good. Oh, nice left foot pass as well, Frank. Great first touch call. Sometimes you can put yourself in a really good position and it can pretty quickly turn into a bad position. And if it turns into a bad position, what do you try and find? Another good one, okay? Especially, now try to avoid just using words like space. It's a very generic answer and it doesn't always actually give you as much detail as you want. And it's a very common answer. Even 4-year-olds will put their hand up and just go, space. They don't really know what they're drilling down into the detail of. So what we're looking for there, Ed, is if I'm in a good position, I'm out, say, on the left wing, and then the defender starts to slide across and cover me, my good position just turned into a bad position. So yes, you're right that we then try and move into a new space, but the reason is because we're trying to find a better position. What might happen is, as you make that move, the defender might follow you. But if the defender does follow you, who else could go into that position?
Right wing.
Teammate, left winger, centre mid, striker. And what we showed really well earlier was Cole was sort of, he won't mind me saying it, was goal hanging a little bit. He was staying forward really, really well. But then when we lost the ball, he wasn't showing a big enough reaction. He started showing a better reaction to come and get the ball. And then it meant that actually Frankie ended up getting further up the pitch. Jacob ended up getting a bit more central. We actually ended up creating a couple of goal scoring chances from that. So that's why those reactions are so important. If you're an attacking player and you react really well, that's great. But what do most kids not bother reacting to?
Defending.
Yeah. Everybody reacts when they're attacking, because when they're attacking, that's the fun bit. They get to score goals, they get to play a through ball, they get an assist. But when you're reacting as a defender, someone tell me some of the ways that we've either done that already or we should be doing that. Go on, Alex. I like that, making backwards movements. Why do backwards movements help? Jacob.
Because if you're facing a goal, then you can't see where the ball is, and if you can't.
I love that. So sometimes when you're in a good defensive position and you want to retreat, players will turn around and run away from the ball. But if you can travel backwards and there's a player here with the ball, then as you run backwards, your field of vision can still see where? Forwards. That makes sense. That's why backwards movements are really important. The other thing that we looked at was just staying goal side and man marking people. You all did that a lot better. I think there was only Jay in that little segment there that let his man go once. Other than that, I think pretty much every time you needed to, you were getting close to your man and tracking people. The next thing we're going to do is look at reactions with the ball. Give me a positive reaction to either your team getting the ball or something you could do with the ball. Go on, Jacob. Could play a through ball. Excellent. That's creating a chance for someone usually in behind the defence, yeah?
Supporting them, like say they're going up, then you could go behind them to spot.
I love that. We worked on that the other week, didn't we, Charlie? My right winger gets the ball and goes on a bit of a crazy dribble. He thinks he's Neymar. He drives forward, and then he realises that actually even Neymar can't get past 2 defenders. But then those clever players show a really positive reaction to him running into trouble. That reaction is a crucial one. I want to look at that in the next bit because I think you guys are all really good dribblers. But the way that you are supported makes a big difference. Because if you're a really good dribbler, but then they double up on you, you still lose the ball. If you're a really good dribbler and your teammate supports behind you, then you don't lose the ball because you can always go back and start again. Make sense? Good through ball, Frankie. Well cut out, Ed. What's the reaction? Yellows, what do we react to? We've got players running past us. We've got players in good positions. Right, there's a couple of things to react to there. Edge just scored an own goal. One, I like that he laughed about it. Some kids cry about it. And two, when that happens, it actually happened on Sunday at a game I was watching. A kid didn't score an own goal, but he gave a penalty away. You know, one of those where you just feel horrible. But what should your teammates do? Yeah, they pat you on the back and say, good effort. I say the same thing, Ed, to any kid who scores an own goal. At least you were back here trying to stop them scoring. The kids who are lazy, who stand the other half of the pitch and just want to be attackers, they don't score own goals, do they? But they don't help their team either. But the kids who are flying back towards their own goal, marking men and tracking runners, sometimes the ball goes in your own net, but at least you were doing the right thing and he showed a really good reaction. Let's play from there. What we're going to look at is a tactical reaction. And I don't mean like a tactical SMG. I'm not like turning you into Call of Duty sweats or anything like that. Someone tell me what a tactical reaction might be. Ben?
Like, for example, got a man sent off.
Ooh.
The players or the manager think, alright, we'll sub someone off.
I like that.
Put like a defensive midfielder.
Okay, so if your team's had a man sent off, you might have to change shape, change players. Did you see that AC Milan had to put Giroud in goal? Because the goalkeeper got sent off. They didn't have a spare keeper. Last weekend. Yeah. He's kept more clean sheets than Chelsea this season. Anyway, so that might be a tactical reaction. The tactical reaction we're going to concentrate on is the one we've just been looking at, that scenario where your dribbler gets closed down and ends up deciding to play in what direction? Backwards. When the ball goes backwards, what's usually the best direction for it to go next? Forwards. Straight back into that trouble. Sounds pretty dangerous. Sideways. Or
Diagonal. Back.
maybe backwards again. Depends on the pressure, right? And what good pressing teams will do is as that ball goes backwards, they will send a pack of dogs hunting that ball down. And so you might need to play backwards again. But if you can get away with it, what's a better direction to play? Sideways. What's a pass that goes from the right-hand side of the pitch to the left-hand side of the pitch called? A switch. So, a really clever tactical reaction is if you see your teammate play the ball backwards, what do you shout?
Switch.
Switch! Is that right every single time?
No.
Maybe not, but most of the time it will probably be a good idea. If the ball's just gone backwards and you know that there's a switch available, then that's probably the next best pass. It also comes from players being clever enough, like you guys, Alex, it comes from players being clever enough to recognise that they're not the best pass on the pitch. Most of the time that kids shout switch, it's because they are this player. They're the guy who actually wants it. But most of the time that you guys shout that, it's because you think, well, if I get the ball, I can dribble and score. But if that wasn't you and it was someone else, would you still shout it?
No.
You should do.
Yeah.
You should do. A coach would shout it, wouldn't they? If this is Jake in goal and he sees the ball go backwards, it doesn't matter who stood over there. Jake shouts switch because it's the right thing to do. It's the right tactical reaction to the ball going backwards. But what I need you guys to do is start thinking like coaches. When that ball goes backwards, even if it was you that played it, what should you be shouting? Switch. Move the ball sideways. Get it away from the pressure. Not only does it make it harder for them to press, but we might find a new way forwards to score. That's the tactical reaction we want to see. If the ball goes backwards, the next place it goes is sideways. Not forwards, Jay. We said it like 8 times, man. Sideways, all right? Because if it's just gone backwards, what it's telling you is that forwards is not working. Danger is in front of the ball. So when it goes backwards, we look sideways to then go forwards. Everyone got it? Back in the game, let's do it.
Wait, when I went forward, I mean like...
Negative. Can anybody tell me, you don't have to name names, don't like point everybody out. Can anybody tell me that if you've got a kid in your team who always reacts negatively?
I mean, sometimes.
I'll give you a few examples of really negative reactions. Pretending to be injured. Who's got one of those kids in their team?
Wait,
Maybe
not
just
anymore.
maybe just like cries all the time, even though nothing's really gone that wrong. Yeah, you get those sometimes. Those are kids where they can't think positively after something goes wrong. Usually when kids like pretend to be injured and stuff, it's usually because they're a bit embarrassed that they've either lost the ball or they missed an open goal or whatever. The second way that kids react negatively is they start getting on at the teammates. And a lot of the time that comes from like mistrust, it comes from players not wanting to play with certain players, or maybe it comes sometimes from kids being a bit greedy. So sometimes what happens, Jay, watch out, dude, you stood right in front of the camera. No, you can't see everybody else. Sometimes what happens is the greediest kid in the team who never, ever, ever passes is also the one who shouts at everybody else for not passing. And ever played with any of those kids? I don't name his name, dude. This might go on YouTube. But the message is the same. It's like we'll beep it. We'll pretend he said a swear word. What you've got to be is the kid who always tries to react positively. And we looked at a few different ways to react positively. That might be by talking to your teammates, might be by moving into spaces, it might be just getting goal side and trying absolutely everything you can to not concede a goal. But one of the most common ways, Cole, that we see kids not react enough, and remember when we said a negative reaction at the beginning, we actually put no reaction. One of the most common ways that you see kids not react is when they lose the ball. Their team loses the ball and they don't even move, they don't even blink. And actually, when you lose the ball, it's an emergency. How do you win a game of football? What do you have to have? The ball, right? And if you don't have the ball, then you can't win the game. So anytime your team loses the ball, you should be like a selfish 3-year-old. Give me that back. That's what you should do with the ball. Give me it. It's mine. I want it. And sometimes when their team have got the ball, they're a bit like that. Give me it. Give me it. Give me it. Give me it. I want the ball because I'm going to score for us. Give me it. And when I get it, I'm never going to let go of it. But then when the other team get it, oh yeah, I don't really care that much. I don't want to run. I don't want to defend. And you've got to stay that greedy when your team lose the ball to say, give us it back. This is our ball. The teams that have more possession usually have more what? More goals. More shots at least. More chances. And the way to get possession is two ways. Either they give you it, which they don't do very often, or you take it for yourself. And that's what you've got to do with those positive reactions. You did really well with that today. And I can't believe that was an hour. That went so fast, but it's 5:30 already. So it's time to go.